In today's video, we're going to learn how to make the super smooth infinity loop animation. This one will have quite a few little steps, so follow along closely. Let's get going. On a new slide, we'll start by creating the infinity loop shape first. So let's find the teardrop shape and let's draw a teardrop. Then let's rotate it by going into Format Shape, Size, Rotation, and give it a 45-degree angle. Then select it, copy and paste it exactly over the old shape. Make sure they're aligned. Grab your new shape, press Ctrl Shift and any of the pointers and make it smaller. And we'll also just change the color of the shape so it stands out. There we go. Now let's group them and copy and paste them. Let's go over and rotate the new shape horizontally and let's match it. So I'll zoom in over here. Let's match it so the endpoints meet exactly. And I'll send the new shape to back so we can check the other side as well. And that looks alright. Let's go ahead, group both these shapes and then just align them to the exact center of our slide. We'll leave the slide for now. And for our next step, what I'll do is I'll duplicate the slide for each and every step so that when you download this file, you'll see all the steps broken down slide-wise. I'll duplicate this slide. I'll ungroup it for now. I'll grab a square, press Shift and draw the square so it's exact. And just so it stands out, I'll change it to orange. And I'll rotate this to 45 degrees and align it to the middle of my slide. Then I'll send it to back. And I'll just adjust the size of the square, make it a little smaller maybe. I'll explain exactly why we're doing this as we go along. So having done this, let's duplicate the slide once again. Let's select everything by pressing Ctrl A. Go into Shape Format and click on Fragment. Now we'll go ahead and delete everything except for these 4 squares. These are basically going to be masks when we animate the loop. So I'll delete everything. And ideally in the end, you should be left with just 4 separate squares. Let me copy them and check that they match the loop. And they do. So that's fine. Having created these masks, let's go over to the first slide we created. Let's duplicate that and bring it down. Let's ungroup everything. Now we'll be subtracting these 2 shapes out of the loop. So select your background, then the foreground, and click on Subtract. Do the same for the other side. And then finally select both the shapes. And once again, go to Merge Shape and click on Union. And now we have a full loop created as a shape. Let's open a new slide. Let's draw a background rectangle. Make sure it covers the entire slide. We'll just change the color again so it stands out. Let's grab the loop shape that we've created and bring it onto the background. And now we'll subtract the loop from the background. So select the background first and then the loop. And click on Subtract. So this will act as the main masking element for our animation. Now I'll once again duplicate this slide. And I'll go over to Shapes and draw a circle. So something like this. I'll remove its outline and I'll make it orange so it contrasts well with the background. Now what we need to do is animate this into a motion path so it follows the loop. So let's go over to animations. Add animation. Now you might see that there's a loop animation available over here, but I wouldn't recommend using this because it's very difficult to match it to your custom shape. So we won't use the loop animation. Instead, what we'll do is go to add animation and do a custom path. But before you draw your custom path, go to effect options and click on curve. Then from the start point of your circle, start drawing your path. The more stops you give it, the smoother it will be. And try as much as you can to keep your path in the center of our loop shape. And draw it all the way so it matches. And if you're not completely happy with the shape of your path, you can always go to edit points and adjust some of them so they match better. You can adjust the position, you can adjust the angle, or you can even delete one point like this. Let's take a look at it. Let's set it with previous and I'll increase it to 4 seconds. Let's go over to our effect options and remove our smooth start and smooth end as well. So it should look something like that. Now, if we bring our foreground to the front and hide the circle in the back and look at it in full screen, while most of the animation looks pretty good, you'll notice that over here the circle extends out and spoils the illusion of this loop. And that's why we created these masks to begin with. So once again, I'll duplicate this slide and I'll bring these 4 masks over. I'll change their color. Now let's look at the animation. Now while the animation works when the circle crosses, these two hide it, but unfortunately these two also hide it. So we're going to have to add some appear and disappear animations that sync with the movement of the circle. Let me show you how. We'll begin by grouping this rectangle and this rectangle, and similarly this one and this one, basically along the path of our circle. Then for our first group, we'll go over to animations, add animation and click on disappear. We'll set it to play with previous, and then we'll go over to add animation again and we'll click on appear. Again set it to play with previous, but this time increase its delay by about 2 seconds. Now let's look at it. So it disappears when the circle is about to reach the center point. Think of it like a railway crossing. Now we'll do the same for the second group. We'll add a disappear animation to it with previous, and then we can add an appear animation to it with previous again, and this time give it a delay of maybe 5 seconds. Having done that, let's try it out. Now, if we select both these groups that we've made, let's remove the shape outline, or maybe change it to white to match the background, and shape fill to match the background. And then once again, bring our blue mask to the front. Let's look at it in full screen now. And it's pretty much seamless. The final thing we want to do is make this sliding shape longer. Right now it seems really short. So let's bring this circle back to the front. Let's duplicate it about 4 times. Let's make sure all the circles are selected. And let's align them to the left and the top so they match the original circle's position exactly. Let's go over to the animations on the new circles. Let's select them, drag them up, and this time let's give each a delay of increasing delay of 0.10 seconds. So 0.10, 0.20 and 0.30. Of course, you'll have to then ensure that the groups match the last circular movement. So just set it to start with previous. Let's see if that works. I'll bring the blue to the foreground again. And as we saw, that didn't exactly go according to plan because I missed one step. After creating these circles, I forgot to send them all to the back, so they're actually coming over the mask instead of behind it. Now that I've sent it to the back, I hope that solves the problem. And it does. And there you go, a beautiful smooth animation of an infinity loop. If you want to animate the loop multiple times, you'll have to set the motion paths to repeat. But remember, every time you repeat it, you'll have to set an appear and disappear animation for our gate masks. So instead, what you could do is export this loop animation as a looping GIF, or you could just simply duplicate the slide and have it run continuously. Of course, I'll be making this entire work file available for download so you can try it out and experiment for yourself. And I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.